my perspective on the world or the realm that we live in is like it's being put together, right, through some of the findings that I'm coming across through ancient stuff. And believe it or not, NASA is actually providing me some stuff. And I know a lot of people say, oh, NASA, you shouldn't believe them. But sometimes they show you the truth in plain sight,
Oh,
you know?
2080
Yeah,
rule. I go by the 2080 rule. There's always, if it's false, there's always 20% truth, and if it's truth, there's always 20% that's not true. So at least, so yeah, man, they'll tell us. So what did you find? What have you found from NASA? And what does NASA mean? I think in is it Hebrew or something? It means to deceive. Is that right?
I think it is to deceive. Yeah, something
Yeah.
along those lines. Yes, you're right. Let me put it this way. The way how they're deceiving us, right, is that they're telling us about these planets and now they're out there floating in suspended animation, right?
Yeah.
But the trick behind it, Campbell, is the locations is really on this realm with us. Like Mars is on this realm,
Yeah.
Venus is on this realm. They're all locations, they're secret locations, code names, you know. And this is what I'm starting to realize is everything that we see in the sky is on the floor with us. Everything is on the floor with us, meaning the stars and everything, constellations is really on the ground. In my opinion, this
Wow.
is where my work is leading me to.
So it's basically the sky is like a reflection, is what you're saying,
Mm-hmm.
of the greater realm.
Correct.
So do
Correct.
you see it as like an infinite plane, and we're just seeing as far as the the reflection goes, kind of thing?
Um, I would like to say infinite, but I can't say that just yet. The only way something would seem infinite to us is we're on a smaller spectrum and the realm is much bigger than we've been told, and we're much smaller than what we've been told. Then
Well,
something seems infinite, right?
yeah. I mean, I've thought about that a lot. I think it was Martin Leedke was talking like a year or two ago about what was he saying about us being upside down in a bell or something underwater, and it made me think of the Aquaman, the old cartoons. I don't know if you've seen them. They had like the dome underwater.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
I was thinking, geez, are we just like someone's, just under a pond or something? And the other thing is the cities, right? We've got this whole
Mm,
concept of circuit board Earth. And I'm
mm.
thinking, wow, maybe we're just electrons or something just running around in a circuit board. I mean, who knows, right? But anyway, I'm
Yo,
curious.
so hold on, rewind back a second because you said Martin Leakey, sorry, said that we could be in a type of a bell, did you say, under
I think he
upside
was
down?
talking, I'm trying to think. He was talking about a bell, or maybe it was an upside down arc or something, an upside down boat, I think is what he
Mm.
was saying. Yeah.
Well, I mean, to some degree, I kind of understand where he's going with it because one of my theories is that we're actually inside of an eyeball, right?
Okay.
And obviously, there's different components to the eyeball. So you have the iris, the pupil, the corona, and all these things. But
Oh, okay.
I, I believe we're in the lens, right? We're in the lens of it. This is why, we see things, hence the eye, all seeing eye, the lens is the eye, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And that's how we focus on things through the lens. So to some degree, I missed when Martin said that. I don't know when he said that, but he's
A
kind
while
of
ago. Mm.
on my level with that one because I like that. That is dope. I like that. I like that. Yeah, I mean, yeah,
Have you
that's
seen
brilliant.
Crater Earth Man? What's his name?
Yeah,
God's
God
Flat.
give them stuff. Yes,
Yeah,
yes, yes, yes.
because
I
he
have.
talks about that as well. Like, well, he talks more of like a lens looking down on us, and sort of it's creating fractal compression or something.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but also the eyeball. See, this is when I was young. I was thinking about infinity, and they always tell us infinity space, right? Like left to right, up and down kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, yeah, that's a pretty lame explanation for infinity. So I
Mm-hmm.
started thinking, well, maybe the Earth. This is when I thought everything was balls. maybe the Earth is like a cell in another being, right? In a giant, and maybe every cell in our body is another world, right? I mean, that's a bit more
Yeah,
like infinity, right? It's like this
there you
fractal
go.
infinity. So that's kind of
Yes,
what you're saying. We could be literally in the eyeball of another being, just a cell.
correct, correct,
Mm,
correct. That's exactly what I'm saying. I'm glad you see it that way.
wow.
And I think they're showing us through these movies as well with the quantum type of realms. You know, like have
Yeah, like the fractal verse and stuff they had in one of the Marvel movies. Do you mean?
yes, with the infinite, you know, infinity rather. That is another way I was looking at it, you know, how they say as above, so below. I say as within, so without.
Why do you think we're in the eyeball or in the? Did you say the iris?
Well, the eye, well, let me put it this way. I think we're definitely either in the eye of the beast or in the body of the beast, right? So we're definitely amongst the beast, whether it's in the eye or another part of the body. But I'm leaning more to the eye, right? Because there's so much. What's that?
Is that because of the dome looking? We look like we're in, a dome,
There's a
right?
few things I want to show you.
And you said the beast. Do you think we're in like the body of a bad dude?
Well, I mean, how can I put it to you? I think to some degree it might be a bird, right? The celestial beast, because they always talk about the celestial beasts, and I've come across a guy in particular. His name is James Turrell, and he is the creator of a monumental piece of work called the Celestial Vault, right?
Okay.
And the Celestial Vault has many meanings, um, and it's a representation of an eye, right? And in one of his interviews, somebody asked him what was the reason and the purpose for this construction of, Golden Crater. He replied, "It's a small representation of where I come from." Right?
Ah,
Weird stuff. Weird stuff. Can't make it up.
obviously, there's a lot of eye symbology around, isn't there?
Correct. Um,
Right.
I want to show you. I want to show you
Because I did see, yeah,
some
I didn't
things.
see it all. I only saw a few minutes, but you did a show, a live, I think, on birds, and you were showing different birds, and I just showed like a Kanye West video, I think it was, and so where this that's where you sort of got your ideas, is it from all this bird symbology?
Yeah, but and basically, you know that guy, um, what's his name? Walt Disney,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Walt Disney, he was making a new project, and the project that he was making, the top of it, it in plain sight to me, it looked like a bird's head, right? It was a bird's head, and it had all the features there, right? So where it was positioned and everything, I kind of went to it on Google Earth where I thought it would be, and it was right there. There was a bird head right there. Is
Oh,
this the
okay.
one? Can I share this? So, I mean, are you familiar with these type of depictions?
Yep, yep,
This is the realm where we live, apparently, right? Earth, as we can see, the vault above us, as they speak about in scriptures and many stories, right? Correct?
yep. The firmament.
Mm-hmm. Now, when I look at this, right, it speaks volumes to me. Now, one of the reasons why I say a bird's eye, right, because this is a bird's eye right here, right? This is another bird's eye. This is another bird's eye. It's a bit blurry, but
I mean, it does look, yeah, similar to those depictions, doesn't it? The way it's set out, that it looks like an eyeball. Those
yeah.
old depictions of Earth, for sure. So
Mm.
I heard one concept, and it was, we're a cell in another being, and and we've made it cancerous, right? And when cells turn cancerous, what they
Hmm.
do is they split in half. They create mitosis, and they split off a good cell, and then the old one, they leave to kind of die. And
Yeah.
maybe that's, this split that everyone's talking about, that, this whole new Earth
Mm.
type thing could be that in a more, would explain it really, wouldn't it?
I'm glad you said
Physical
that
way. Mm.
because Tony Taylor, my sidekick, he's always on the panel with me. He mentioned that yesterday about cells when they divide. He said it's something like a suicide something. I can't remember the correct term he used, but he said it's almost like suicide, right? And that's like another great split. Like it's dividing itself just before it dies or something, apparently.
Yeah, yeah. When it gets really sick and it knows it's going to die, it splits off a bit that it hope like an egg, or like a bit that's not infected, that hopefully will grow into a healthy cell, and then the other one
Mm.
is supposed to sort of die and implode by natural, methods.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah, isn't
That's
it?
wild. That's crazy. What else I want to show you now? Even with this, right? This is a bird's eye, but I see the flower of life when I see this. Right? This is
That's a
quite
that's a
similar.
bird's eye.
Correct.
Wow,
Mm,
that's pretty interesting.
crazy, right? Now, when I was cause keeping in mind, right, whenever they show us images of Mars, Venus, Uranus, all these planets, I know it's CGI, right? But why are they showing us things CGI, right? Now, when I was looking at something on, it's like a spin-off from NASA. I think their name is like Cosmos or something like this, right? And they do a lot of intergalactical traveling, and they show you different planets and these things from probes, right? But they showed me this, right? This is a crater, right? Now, when I saw that, I was looking at this.
Yeah, wow, okay.
You understand? I was seeing something like this. Um,
Is that supposed to be a crater on another
yeah, this is in Mars.
on Mars? Okay.
This is in Mars, apparently. Apparently Mars, right?
Yeah, wow.
Hmm.
That's also got
Now,
like the cross on it, hasn't it? Almost
exactly.
from the people.
Like the four rivers, right? It's almost got like the
Ah,
four rivers
yeah, yeah,
leading from.
exactly. Yeah, right.
You
Hyperborean.
understand? Like, there you go, like this type of thing, right?
Yep.
That's where we're going with it. Now, keeping in mind, right? Um, when they showed me this, right? This is meant to be Mars, Campbell, right?
Yep.
Now, this automatically reminded me of this. Bel E is meant to be the moon, and Earth is the same thing. So Mars is on Earth. So they're just showing us different colors and different images, from different angles, and just calling it the moon when it suits them, and then calling it Mars when it suits them.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, most people would have seen that picture of, I think it's Greenland, and they show like a landscape, and it says, Greenland, and then they show it, it's got a red tint on it, and that's literally the picture they show for Mars.
Yeah.
So obviously there's a lot of manipulation going on. I saw this video. I'm actually in the middle of making a video about it. There was this guy from the government, and he was talking about Space Force, and
Mm.
he talking about the Chinese being on the moon and on the dark side of the moon, and they're mining all these minerals and things. And then he says, he, he's like, so picture it like this: the moon is another continent, and the ocean is space. And I just went,
Mm.
okay, fair enough. So I mean, he was literally telling us, that they're going, water space, right? They're going to the outer space, right?
Mm,
The outer waters, and these heavenly bodies or whatever are continents maybe out there. That's how they're visiting them. So yeah, it's pretty interesting.
yeah. But I like what you just said there. You said he said the moon is another continent, right? Am I
Yeah.
correct?
Yep.
Okay. I'm glad I heard that because one of my other theories is that as well as the bird, you have the giant fish
Yep.
and you have the dragon, right? Now, I could be wrong, but what I'm thinking is the fish is the moon, right? And the bird is another continent, and the dragon is another separate continent, right? And they're all superimposed to make the moon. But I don't think the moon is its original name. I think the fish is the moon, and then the bird might have a different name because they're all celestial beasts, right? They speak about these things: the bird, the dragon, and the fish. Now, I've located all three of them, right? Through the European, they done a space program and they went to Titan, a moon called Titan, right?
Gosh.
Yeah. But
Okay.
as they was coming down, right? It took them near enough 2 hours to reach the surface, right?
Yep.
But when they was coming down, they exposed it to me. I saw it all in plain sight. I was like, "Yep, thank you very much." They showed me the bird, the dragon, and the fish, right? Now, the fish, what I think they showed us or showed me is the one that Roger Spurs has found, right? Now, keeping in
Yep.
mind, when we look at the globe they give us, right? If I say, all right, I want to find Cambell on this globe, I have to use their tools to find you, right?
Mhm.
So I have to use their tools to find you knowing full well that this tool is very, misleading. So
Yep.
now I think to myself, okay, if I know this is misleading, but I can see things that look like creatures on this thing that has been spoke about in, ancient times and maps and scriptures and all these things, something must be real on this fake thing they're presenting. So
Mm.
I pick out the real things out of it, and then I start, putting it together, and then I wait until they show me something again. Then I'm like, okay, thank you. Now you've exposed the dragon, the fish, and the bird to me. I can take it off your globe, and then I can put it together how you just showed me in this video, right? Do you understand where I'm going with that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how we use their tools against them. We wait until they show us something else, and then we use their puzzles that they've just, given us.
So they're showing us, yeah, stuff that's in space and that, but you're saying it's on the greater realm, and so the dragon is like another continent, basically.
Yeah, I've got part seven. I've showed it all in part seven, so I'm gonna show you that today anyway. So you're up to speed of what I'm trying to show you.
What's the series called? The Holy Book
The
of
Holy
AI?
AI book, the
The
Holy
Holy
AI
AI
book,
book. Okay.
the Holy AI book. Yeah, very interesting.
So it's interesting that the planet was Titan, right? Or they
Yeah,
said the planet was Titan because we all know what Titans are, right? And
correct.
what's just happened last week, right? We lost people in a
Mhm.
submarine called Titan that were looking at the Titanic.
Oh, so the thing was called Titan itself, was it?
The submarine was called Titan.
I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah.
See, okay, that is interesting. I wasn't aware of that. Okay.
Mm. I mean, and then just another point, if we go back to the whole cell thing, that's a barrier, right? Is the cell membrane. That's why we're enclosed in a realm.
Yeah.
Just need to get through the cell membrane, maybe, and we can get to other cells. Maybe they're the other planets. This has got something obviously to do with mud fossil like university when you're talking about dragons.
And
Because
the
he's
fish, correct.
as a fish, that's where that comes from, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes.
There we
Arrangement.
of the table tells you a different story. I can see several different birds on the menu. Take a look at the bird on the centerpiece. This is the main feature for a reason. If I had to guess, I think they are showing us for a reason. The mackerel bird on the moon. I could be wrong, but I highly doubt it. Let's head over to the European Space Agency.
On January 14th, 2005, the European Space Agency's Huygens probe plummeted through the its cameras began capturing incredible images of its descent. This footage was created from those images and reveals in just a few minutes what Huygens saw during its 2 hours and 27-minute journey through the thick smog-like haze. At first, only an orangey-brown blur is visible, but as the probe falls deeper and the cloud starts to clear at around 30 miles above the surface, which is about 50 kilometers above the surface, large, never-before-seen features are slowly revealed.
Okay, let's take another look. For those of you who didn't see it the first time, let's go. Take a look to the right. The formation that looks like a bird, as you can see, clearly it's the bird hiding in plain sight.
Did you catch it?
Yeah.
The image reveals a flat plain surrounded by scattered pebbles. The image reveals a flat plain surrounded by scattered pebbles. The image reveals a flat plain surrounded by scattered pebbles.
Wow, is it a coincidence that the bird in the centerpiece seems to be surrounded by blueberries, which resemble small pebbles?
By scattered pebbles.
Interesting. Kanye seems to know more than the average man.
And that's why I have to keep resetting him, right?
Forward this bit here.
Try and find what the human eye has not been able to notice, and not even from aeroplanes.
What the researchers find amazes them, as the HD camera reveals dozens of additional geoglyphs that had never been seen before.
They include a huge serpent and also a giant fish, both of which are cosmic symbols.
I was thinking about the bird when you were talking about birds there up there in the Nazca lines. Is this Nazca?
This is somewhere over there, yeah, but those images have never been seen before.
Yeah, I mean, the ones we're looking at now I've never seen before. That look, the one up the top like a little snowman with a hat on.
Yeah, indeed. Right, so you heard him say the serpent and the fish, right?
Yeah.
But they haven't yet said the bird, right? Yeah. But they're gonna show you the bird. Let's keep going.
The thing is, with some of the figures found in Palpa, they think they could be older than some of the Nazca figures because they're on hillsides, and it's known that the Paracas culture, who were around before the Nazca, going back to probably 800 BC or even earlier, does suggest that there was more cultures than just the Nazca people creating these effigies and lions in that part of the whole Nazca region.
More geoglyphs created by cultures stretching back nearly 3,000 years.
If they can only be appreciated crests of different, I could not see it, I would not be very happy with that. Created in order to contact someone up there.
The ancients were trying to represent that which they believe was coming from the cosmos, and that they themselves were trying to communicate or make the link.
To make such detailed and elaborate representations of life on Earth, unless they were trying to communicate with someone. They also cite recent
would suggest there are actually geoglyphs on Mars.
Mars now, right?
And definitely on the surface of Mars, we have some stone circles. Now, nature does not create stone circle. Nature could make one stone circle, but not 3 or 4 put together.
Of particular interest to researchers is a recently discovered geological anomaly that strongly resembles a species of bird.
In 2002, a member of the Cydonia Institute discovered a parrot formation in the RG Basin area of Mars. After 2 geologists and 3 veterinarians, one being an avian specialist, examined the formation, they confirmed that the parrot formation had over 17 points of anatomical correctness, all adhering to the proper shape, size, and orientation to a real parrot. The same motif can be seen on a copper plate produced by the Hopewell Indians that features the same type of parrot formation with an upraised wing.
Could the mysterious parrot-shaped formation on the surface of
So
Everyone was
Quetzalcoatl as well was a bird from the South American god who was Quetzalcoatl.
That was the I think the snake serpent.
The feathered serpent. Yeah, that's
feather
right.
Serpent. Yes.
There's lots of feather symbology too, like in, well, you know, who knows if it's true, but the history we're given about the Native Americans were always wearing feathers and stuff, weren't they?
Yeah. It's just a part here.
An orangey-brown blur is visible, but as the probe falls deeper and the cloud starts to clear at around 30 miles above the surface, which is about 50 kilometers above the surface, large, never-before-seen features are slowly revealed.
Let's go again, for those of you who missed it the first time. Just like the bird, the dragon is in plain sight.
Large, never-before-seen features are slowly revealed.
Keep this pattern in your mind. Now let's make some cross-references with the ancient maps and NASA. Let's go. Pay close attention to the limbs extended out from the dragon.
Large, never-before-seen features are slowly revealed. Large, never-before-seen features are slowly revealed. Large, never-before-seen features are slowly revealed.
This realm seems to be full of surprises, dragons everywhere. When you open your eyes, you open your mind. Let's go and locate the great fish.
They include a huge serpent and also a giant fish, both of which are cosmic symbols.
This one should be quick and easy. We already have the fish out in the desert of Morocco. The size of this fish could feed a whole nation. No need for 5 loaves or 2 fish. Pay attention to the black smudge. This would be the eye. When the fish die, the eyes turn black. Keep that in mind. Let's go.
This is the fish that Roger Spurs has found now, right? That we're looking at.
Yep. So what is that a mountain range? Do we know that black spot?
It is. It turns into a mountain range.
they mining that place, are they?
Yeah.
What is
Now,
it? Is it coal or?
I'm not 100% sure, to be honest with you, but I know they're definitely mining because when I zoomed in, it looked like they were there. There was how would you call it, machinery as well, and all these type of things, and it looked like there's a pathway that vehicles regularly go down, right?
Yeah.
But this thing on the screen right here, this almost looks like it's a type of dome, right, with another dome inside of
Oh,
it.
okay, I can see
Reflection.
it.
You see it, like an
Yeah.
eye type of thing, right? Now, the pattern that it's on, sorry, the surface that it's on almost looks like one side will be grey, like moon material, right? Moon surface, and the other side will be the dark side of the moon. You understand what I'm saying? Right? But
Okay.
it also looks like it's the fish body. You see how it's carved out like a fish, like the patterns, like
Yeah,
like
like
the
scales.
body scales. That's the word. Thank you, Campbell. That scales, correct. All right. Now let me wind this bit back just so you understand what I'm saying again.
So
Mm-hmm.
I'm just trying to work out the correlation. So if this is that, so obviously you don't think that we're in the eye of that fish. Where it's got to be a bigger fish. If we're, oh no, you think a bird. Sorry, in a bird. Like, so have these got a correlation to, like, these figures, the dragon, the bird, or the fish, to continents, like, or when, or are they what? Where have they come from? I guess is what I'm trying to say. Like, what's the? Because obviously, if we're in the eye of a bird, that would be a fractal up, and these
Yeah.
things are obviously a lot bigger than us. These are like what we would say Titanic.
Yeah.
So where do you think? Because was a big thing with Roger when I was watching his stuff like a year ago or whatever, and he was talking about the dragon, but then he was saying that it's a globe, and I'm thinking, dude, that dragon's like half the size of Africa. If it beat its wings once, like, there'd be nothing left here.
Exactly.
Or it'd be off in space, right? Like, it wouldn't be.
Yeah.
So how do you see this? Where have these like Titanic creatures come from?
I think they're more like I would say like some form of parasites, just like us. I think we're just parasites, and they just gave us fancy names.
So they've
some type of cells.
Okay, so getting back to the whole, we're a cell in another being's body.
Mm-hmm.
So you're seeing them as it's like that body's got parasites, as we all do.
Mm-hmm.
And
different cells,
and that
different
they've got in
germs.
somehow and then been killed by the cell, I guess, which would happen, in its defense mechanism. Because that would also explain, this concept we've got of archons and stuff and people coming in, wouldn't it? Like they could literally be, dis-ease, right? They're bringing dis-ease to the cell where we're in, and viruses and all this kind of stuff, because they seem to like their viruses, don't they?
Yeah, they do. That was funny. Yeah, they do indeed, Campbell. Oh man.
So these could basically just be parasites this is just the form they've taken, and they've come from outside the cell, shall we say, if we're looking at that perspective.
Yeah, there's so much more that I've looked into, and it looks like to some degree the macro world is definitely real.
Well, I mean, we see it everywhere, don't we? We see tornadoes, and then it's the same as water going down your sink, right? Or any other sort of little vortex, thing. We get fractals everywhere. Everything's really is a fractal. So, but we clearly can't see a fractal up, right? Because we're in this lower fractal. So it's, I mean, how would they gain that knowledge, right? How would they, if this is not, if that's known that that's what's happening, like how would you work out that we're in the body of another another being. That's so weird. I don't know. But anyway.
I think the reasons why they probably know because they've had head starts and they can travel, it's always about traveling, and when you get a head start on people, your information comes back quicker and then you can set up perimeters. And to some degree, I feel like they've always known because the ancient scriptures it was always in our faces, with all these biblical stuff with giant Nephilims and big angels and just all types of things. I think these people was well aware. I think they was well aware. I think even with the most of the mountain ranges that we see laying around and all these things, I think they are well aware that these are possibly remnants of body parts of creatures, or they could be whole creatures, or and all these things. I think they're well aware. They got this realm mapped out because they've even got Mars mapped out. Supposedly, Mars meant to be a planet, right? And they've had it mapped out since I think it was like near enough to 1800s, apparently.
Yeah,
right?
wow.
But when they showed us this map, right, of Mars, it's got places like Libya, Syria Light, and all of these things on it.
Wow.
Yeah, bro, it's like Planitia and all like it's like Europa, like what's going on? Like, Libya and the reason why I say Libya because I've been looking into Libya. So when I looked on the Mars map and Libya was right in my face on Mars, I was like, I don't need no more proof. They just gave me what I've been looking for.
Yeah, right.
It's mental. It's mental. The other day I came across something that looked like a face, right? A big giant Titan head. And I was like, that looks like a bloody head. I showed my friends, they were like, yeah, I think that is a head, but it could be a statue head or it could be a real Titan, but it's a head, whatever it is. So I remember them saying the face on Mars. So I was like,
Face on Mars.
This must be the face on Mars.
Well, I mean, and that's all we hear about as far as secret space missions, and that is Mars, right? There's all this out there of people that have been to Mars and all this kind of stuff. Even Barack Obama, apparently.
What?
You haven't heard that? Yeah. He was in. Yeah, there's videos out there showing he was in the secret space program. He's been to Mars, and then there's also this rumor that Mars has got giant spiders on it, and we have the Bowie song or album "Spiders from Mars" and all these super soldier stories of giant spiders. But anyway, we've never seen them leave in a rocket ship. Really, I mean, we know all they've got is the moon, right, from the 60s, which is completely proven as a hoax. But we see that, but they could go sideways, be much easier, right? And they could map it out. They could do that in tall ships, really back in the day, couldn't they? They could have known it was there. So it makes a lot more sense. I know a lot of people struggle with, the shape of the realm stuff still, but I mean, to me, it's just as plausible that all this fantastic, amazing stuff that they tell us to believe of all these different worlds they're finding. I mean, it would make more sense, I guess, that they're at least the same that they're on a flat plane, as opposed to they're floating in a vacuum in space. I mean, it's not that much of a different theory, really, is it, or story? It's just, one's up there, one's down here.
Yeah.
And as you said, as above, so below. So is it? Is the sky showing us? So, what do you think the moon is again? Do you think you were saying it's a composite? Do you think that that's like a landmass, or is that maybe just our dome, like a magnification of just our area, and then the sky is the rest of the infinite plane?
I think it's almost like it's in layers, right? Just like what I showed you. Hang on, let me turn this down and I'll show you 1 second. Like, can you see the eye back here, or the somewhat thing that looks like an eye back here?
Yeah, that big hole. Yep.
Yeah. I would think how it's got different layers here. So one layer, the first one might show you the stars, and then on the third one might show you the galaxy plus the stars, and then when you look out would be this part here, everything in its total image. You've got everything on here, the stars,
okay,
and the galaxies. You understand? But if this is Earth, this will be the biggest one next to Mars and all these other ones, right? So they must be close somewhere on the crater, which will be the bird somewhere, the dragon somewhere, and have a little thing, because this right here, the blue pattern next to it, I'm guessing that's the waters, right? This is the waters. Now, this is what probably runs over the surface that makes the stars twinkle, what we see through the stars, right? Or something, possibly.
Well,
we see this.
When we look at close-up of stars, they look like cymatics. You can reproduce them basically in water, like.
Yeah, it's weird. I haven't figured it all out, the nooks and crannies, but what I can see here, to me, this looks like a type of dome, and the eye and the surface around it looks more like the moon surface.
Yeah.
You know?
So it's like multiple lenses looking down, and so superimposed on each other at different magnifications, yes, shall we say.
Mm-hmm. You said it. Let me go back one more time just to show you something. Now, you've got the eye, yeah, then the nose. This bit will be the nose of the fish.
Oh, okay.
Right, you've got the eye and then the nose.
What's
and then you can see,
circle?
I'm not too sure what this is. What I think is, I could be wrong, right? But I think like all right, I know this is gonna sound crazy, right, Campbell, but hear me out. The Mars Land Rover, right? This thing goes around, right? And it drills into apparently the moon surface or the Mars surface and takes samples out, right?
Yeah.
But this looks like it's been a clean, like a mechanical drill halfway in the surface and take out samples, right? Making a type of petri dish, right? So I'm saying, could it be possible, right? Going back to the micro-macro theory, what if when we're seeing these quote-unquote Mars Land Rovers, right? Taking these samples or doing their thing, that's really on the macro. That's like the scientists and all these people doing their stuff. And we're just the little people, right? I know it sounds crazy, but when I've watched stuff like The Simpsons, they've kind of put that image into my head, right? There's bigger. All right, I'll give you an example. There's a movie that I've seen called Downsizing, right?
Yeah.
And in this movie, people downsize, shrink themselves for financial gains, right?
Yep. I've seen the short.
So, cool. So they're putting these things in movies that, you know, people are willing to downsize for money and all these things. The scientists came up with this method, right? The scientists came up with this method to shrink people to, you know, have less people on the world, because they were talking about the world was overpopulating. So they said, let's find out a shrinking rate so we can create a small society and we can put people in it and there's more space on the earth, right? So when I see those type of movies now, I think, what are you trying to show me? And then when I see things like this, I'm like, wow, that looks like something. Could we be in that eyeball? And these little NASA things that are floating around, they're really gigantic, right? They're like how would I say, like alien spaceships, but they're not alien spaceships. They're just NASA probes to some degree, you know, just flying over their science project, which will be us. You understand?
Yeah. I mean, if we're in a cell that's gone cancerous, we could be on an operating theatre, right? And they're putting needles and stuff into the cell. I mean, that could also, what if we're getting what's cancer treatment called, where they pump you full of chemicals? Oh, I've forgotten now, but I mean that would kind of explain all this poisoning in the atmosphere, right?
Chemo and that chemo.
Yeah,
Chemo.
chemotherapy. Yeah. I don't
Mhm.
know, just a random thought there, but I mean that what we're looking at. I mean that's on Earth, is it? Because that is very, very precise for a circle. I mean
Mm,
that's ridiculous,
mm.
and that's in Africa, is it?
No, this is Mars
Oh,
apparently.
this is apparently Mars. Okay, cool.
Yes, this is
So
Mars,
that's
exactly.
Mars.
Yeah.
So what do they say that is? Because that's clearly not natural. That's ridiculous.
Mm,
It's like a perfect circle,
hmm
and it looks like it's a perfect height indentation too. That's just crazy.
It's wild, right? Let's
Mm,
keep going.
let's keep going. Oh, black nightclub.
Now, I don't know whether this was the fish, but it seems to have like little craters looking things on it. Understand? Let's go back again. No, have a look at it. It's got the black thing again, right? So but I'm guessing this is at a higher altitude, right? Because you can't see the second type of dome, right?
Yep.
You can't see the second type of dome, so it will be a higher altitude now, and you can see less of the scales, right? Because it's at a higher altitude.
Yeah.
Right now, just even the how would you call it? The thickness of this thing. Let's have a look. You see right there.
The height of it, yeah.
The height of it, right? It's
And
casting a shadow.
yeah, exactly. The whole edge has got a shadow, so it's like it's sitting on top.
Mm. And if you look closely, it's almost got like ring craters in it, right? All around it, you know. You can see crater-like type of things. Keep going.
And last but not least, here we have the fish to the left. I'm quite sure this would be the fish.
Gosh, it's saying
Hmm?
that just got 2 minutes left. We haven't got an hour again, have we?
Well, sorry, one more time. You broke up a bit.
I just got another message saying there's 10 minutes left on my Zoom.
Okay. Gotcha. No worries. This will be over in a minute here. This one.
Yeah, no. I just think we haven't been going half an hour though, have we?
The bird, the fish, the dragon. I hope you enjoyed yourself. Till next time, look after yourself. Love over war. Lay low. London.
So the Black Eye Club, obviously, right? We've all seen those pictures.
Yeah.
So do you think, like, I mean, that obviously, I think it was Roger who put out that we could be living, on the remains of dead titans, right? Is that what you're thinking the other continents, Mars and all these kind of places are? Or are they just sort of littered with these things like our realm seems to be?
Yeah. I think they're somewhat littered with creatures. Yeah.
It'd be interesting to see how a cell deals with, with an attack, right? With something that comes in, a virus. Like, what does it do? Does it kill it? And do the remains of that virus stay in the cell? I wonder. I mean, that'd be interesting to look into, wouldn't it?
That would be.
Everything's fractal.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be.
Wow, man. So the realm, geez, it's just getting more and more questions, isn't it? I mean, this is the thing, like, all we're really learning is we don't know shit. We don't know anything, man.
I agree. I
It's,
agree.
oh gosh. So, all right, we've got a few more minutes here. So, we'll have to have another chat some other time, like, but
Definitely.
so wrap,
Mhm.
wrap us up. What's your summation of at the moment? Where are you with what is this realm and what's going on?
I think this realm belongs to Satan, right? I think this realm definitely belongs to Satan. I think we could be living in Satan's eye, or if it ain't Satan, it's somewhat of like Olden, around that type of people, or someone who lost their eye. I think the
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 Norse, yeah, I was
Norse,
just gonna say, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. He gave his
I,
eye wisdom.
there you go. I
Mm,
think they were spot on with, well, somewhat spot on with their um, stuff that they left behind, right? I think they had a lot of stuff, and I think a lot of cultures took from their teachings also, or their stories. And I think there's a lot of gems in that one. And I think this realm is very crazy, and I'm willing to make up my own theory of this realm before I leave this realm, right? I'd rather have my indoctrination in my head before I kick the bucket. You
yeah,
understand? Instead of
yeah.
a ball or just um, a flat earth in the dome. I know there's more than that, and it speaks. When I think of flat earth and dome now, I can't get eye out of my head,
Yeah.
especially when all the symbols with the hiding one eye and just everything's within the eye now. It's
Mm.
starting to make sense. It's starting to make sense to me.
Yeah, well, I mean, when you think of an eye, obviously they have the pupil, right, which is where the light comes in, right? The information's received, is that right? Through the pupil?
Mm-hmm,
I got that right?
mm-hmm.
So we've got, we're not allowed up in the Arctic, right? We've got these stories of Hyperborea. We just saw that symbolism before in that eye that you showed.
Yeah,
And then we have these stories of Mount Meru, like, and blue beams and beams of light going up from the center. I'm just wondering, like, is that how they're seeing? Like, if you can get access, is that where the information from outside actually comes into the eyeball, right? That's where it would come in, isn't it? And that's why we're not allowed there. And maybe that's where they're getting a lot of their info. I mean, that's
the
definitely
info.
where the H man with the moustache went, right? He went straight up
Mm,
north, and he was up
mm.
there, and obviously out to the other way as well. But there you go. That's another theory for you. Like, I wonder if that's where the information's come, because we've got to get the northern lights as well, right? Is that just residue of, you know,
It could
light
be of
photons coming in?
information. Yeah,
Information.
information. Yeah, it could be. I mean, one more thing I wanted to say before I get out of here as well. Even with the eye, right? There's a theory. Basically the story goes behind it is the beast of chaos, right, will be released. Have you ever heard of that before? The beast of chaos will come from underneath the waters, right?
Yeah, so that's like from the Bible verses after the 1,000 year
Yes.
reign of Christ, then the beast gets released for 200
Yeah.
years, I think.
Yeah. Right. Now I'm guessing that's what happens, right? When somebody passes away, the parasite will leave the body, right? Now on a macro level, that would be the Hydra escaping the eye, right? Now that will cause so much damage to the micro living beings, right? If a macro thing decides to leave, try to escape the body, that will be the chaos. I want to leave you with
Okay.
that theory. And I've got proof for it. Like I said, I've got stuff with the eye, and it's got the serpent. Oh man, I've got so much. So next time we're gonna have to fucking get into it
Yeah,
proper,
we'll have
bro.
to do a part two. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. Sorry,
it's
this was
wild.
cut short a bit. I've decided,
No,
yeah, I'm looking
no
for
worries.
doing
Mm.
alternatives, so I didn't pay my bill, and so we're stuck. But I think that it looks like we got 40 minutes, and then it cut us down to 30. So maybe they keep cutting you down. Bloody Zoom. It's probably owned by BlackRock.
It's saying 3 over here. It's saying 3 minutes over here.
Yeah, yeah, 3 minutes. That's what I've
Yeah,
got. So I
yeah.
mean, and Black
So
Rock, that's another, the black eye, the Rufus Negro, you know, tree of life in the middle, all this kind of stuff might be a big tie-in as well, you know, because like obviously all pupils are black, right? They love us to tell us that there's lots of black holes out in infinite space. So
I found the tree of life. I know what the tree of life is. I found it. They revealed it to me in ancient scriptures, right? So when I started to think of the bird and the eye, I started to look into parasites within the eye of a bird.
Okay.
I was spot on. It revealed itself to me. It was spot on. So we're gonna have to definitely get part 2 cracking again, Cambell.
Yeah. I've got some thoughts too. It'll be good. I'll have some time to roll the thoughts around in my head and hopefully have some interesting things to say. But awesome. All right. Well, thanks for joining us, and everyone watching. Of course, London Man on YouTube. We'll leave the link below. Go across, check out his stuff. Check out the AI. What is it again?
The Holy AI book.
Holy AI book. Where he puts his theory together. Obviously, you know, give him a like, subscribe, all that kind of good stuff. And yeah, we'll get back together and continue this story in a couple of weeks, and we'll see where it goes.
Cheers, Cambell, man. It's been a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Thanks
for having me. And send my love to Kelly, man. She's awesome.
Yeah. Will do, mate. Will do.
Awesome. Till next time, Cambell. Big up.
Cheers, mate. Have a good one. Talk to you soon.
You too.
See you, mate.
Remember, in the end, nobody wins unless everybody wins.
What's that? A rooster.
Yeah, got chooks and roosters just outside my door.
Nice. What's his name?
Sam the rooster.
Sam. Oh, nice, nice.
He's a bit cocky.